tricks to make building easier. So let's go. So the first trick is that in creative mode, if you open your creative inventory, you can see that there is a little gap here. So up here there's a thing here, but there isn't actually a tab here. And that's because there's a secret tab that they're hiding from you. No, if you go into options, controls, you can find operator items tab. And by default that will be off, but you can turn that on. You click done and go out. And now you'll see that there is a command block tab, and so if you click on this, is the operator utilities. It has all of these light blocks. It has some paintings that you can only get from the creative inventory or with commands. And so as you can see, this is what these secret paintings look like. And then there's also the command blocks, there's the structure block, jigsaw block, and so if these are blocks that you're going to use frequently, then this is a very good tab to have available to you. And the light block is basically just something where it emits whatever amount of light it says on the number, and it emits that light, but if you're not holding the block, it is invisible and it doesn't have a hitbox, but if you're holding it, it has a hitbox and you can break it. The next thing is, say we just built this, and I want to, this is a mega structure, we're going to pretend that this hut is a giant structure, and I want to have a little zoom out, or say I want to travel a very far distance, like that house or past the house. Then what you can do is you can press F3, F4, and so first of all, if you're holding both of this, you want to hold down F3 and press F4 to go next. And you can just change your game mode, so you can use this to go into survival, adventure, creative, or spectator very easily, but I'm going to focus on what you can do in spectator mode. So spectator mode, as you probably know, you can go through blocks, you can see through the blocks, and you're also invisible, except for a little floating head to other spectators. But what a lot of people don't know is that if you use your scroll wheel when you are moving, you can actually go faster. So if you scroll upwards, you move a lot faster. So as you can see, I'm zooming about right now. If I scroll even faster, I can move even further. It is very accentuated if you sprint as well. And then I can slow this down by scrolling backwards. And then I can scroll forward again. And I go super fast. And so this is very useful for traveling around your world, if that's something that you want to do. And if we come back here, we slow down, and then we slow down, and we press and hold F3, F4. And also when you bring up this menu, it will, F3, F4, it will go immediately to the last game mode that you had. So if you just press F3, F4 and let go, you can like swap between two game modes very quickly, which is what I use when I want to swap between creative and spectator mode. Next we've got the thing that I use the most frequently, which is saved hotbars, which basically, if I fill up my inventory with a bunch of random blocks, say we were building this, and I'm not done building this, and I want to save this for a later time. I want to save this hotbar for a later time, or maybe I want to build this in another world, and I want to save this hotbar for another world. You can go Options, Controls, Keybinds, and scroll down till you see the Creative Mode section here. And there is Load Hotbar Activator and Save Hotbar Activator. I'm not entirely sure what the default keybinds are for this, but you can set your own keybind, and I recommend putting the load hotbar somewhere where it's very accessible. So Z is very accessible to me because it's right under WASD, and then put the save hotbar activator somewhere where you're going to have to like reach for it. So for me, I've put it on O, so I have to like take my hand off the mouse, put it onto O in order to do it, in order to use it. And you'll see why in a second. So if we come out here, say that this hotbar is very important to me, and I really want to save this, I can press my save hotbar key and a number from 1 to 9, so 07 for example, and now it says that it's saved. So if I drop all these items on the ground, and then I press and hold, and then I press my my load key, which for me is Z, but it might be something different for you. So I press my load key and I press 7 which was what I saved it to, I have all these blocks back, which is very useful. And then if you have an empty hotbar, if you have an empty hotbar number, you can do something like Z1, because your one would be your number 1 would be empty if you haven't set anything to it, or like Z9 if you'd like, something like that. And if you haven't saved anything to it, it will give you an empty hotbar. So say you're working on this and now you want a new block palette, you can just go Z1, and then it just removes all of these things from your hotbar, which is very useful, and I use it like all the time when building, and I've probably even used it in videos before. And if you open your inventory, you'll be able to see that there is a saved hotbars tab where you can see your saved hotbars. So as you can see, the one we saved earlier is here, and say I want to get rid of this now, I can go with my now empty hotbar 07 and it just saves over it. So the reason I said maybe put it as something that you aren't going to be able to like misclick is because you do not want to save over your saved hotbars, because that's going to be really annoying for you to fix. But also, you can use the saved hotbars tab if you're not going to like swap between different things. You can use the saved hotbars tab as you can use saved hotbars as like a custom tab, which I've partially done. I've put all these letter banners here, I've got my own heads, so for the most part I use saved hotbars as its own tab, but I also use it for if my inventory is very cluttered, I can just go Z and then a number and then it disappears, which means that you're like clearing your hotbar, which is honestly very useful. The next thing we've got is, say that I want this entire area from this block here, or let's move it to like here. I want it from here to be like a rectangular prism and to all be filled. But placing in those blocks is going to take so much time. I don't have that much time, I've got to be doing other stuff. And so, what you can do is you can come over to one corner here, and then go into your chat and go /fill space, and then if you're hovering over the corner, it will bring up the coordinates for the block you're hovering over. And so you can click on that, and you can use the arrow keys, by the way, up and down arrow, to choose between these things, and you can press tab as well, and tab just automatically puts it in. Then you're going to press enter. Now it's going to say incomplete command, and that's because it is an incomplete command. So you're going to come up here to your next corner, and open your chat, and then press up arrow to get the previous command, and this works multiple times. So if you press up arrow, you can find previous things that you've said before, and you can even go down arrow to go to the next thing. It's very useful. But if you press up arrow to get your last command, you press space, and then it'll give you the chords of the block you're hovering over again, and then you can choose what block you want, such as bamboo planks. Press enter, and now the entire area has been filled, which is very useful, but there is a limit. If your range is too big, so from corner to corner, say it was like over here to like all the way that way, if it's too big of an area, it just won't do it, and so you'll have to like use the command multiple different times. So that is a limitation. Now this next one, you've got to be very careful when doing it, because if you do it wrong, there is no way to undo it, and that's the same with the fill command, so just be careful with the fill command and this next command, because you can't undo. So the clone command is this next thing, and if you go /clone, and you're hovering over the block, like with the fill command, you can press tab to get this, and then press enter. You can come to your next corner, place a block where your next corner is, and then fill in the coordinate for that. Now the clone command, what it does is it will duplicate the selection to wherever you want. So I've made my selection, this is my selection here, and say I want it to be it's basically like copy paste. Say I want it to be pasted here. I can open my chat and go to the last command, and I can press space, and now you've got to input another set of coordinates like that. But what you could do is just stand where you want it to be pasted. For example, maybe I want it to be pasted right here. I'm gonna move further away and just be in the air so that it doesn't break anything, because it will. when it pastes it, it will replace blocks. So if you use it, it will replace blocks. So I'm just gonna do it up here to show you how it works. This little squiggly line, it's called a tilde, and if you use 3 of them, it will place the thing at your feet. And so say I wanted it to be at my head, I could put a 1 after this tilde, because the tilde is very useful in that it is like relative coordinates, and you can put numbers after it to make it go further away. So if I did like tilde 5, so this middle one determines the height, so tilde is the feet, and then 5 would be adding 5 to go up. I could put it 5 blocks below my feet, and you can even do it with these ones on the end here, which are like the sides direction, the horizontal directions of north, south, east, west, pretty much. And so I can do that. You can place your command, and if your selected area wasn't too large, then it will have copy-pasted your entire thing that you wanted to do, and as you can see, this is completely cloned. So anyway, that was 5 tricks to make building easier in creative mode. I hope you enjoyed. Consider subscribing.